Hello and welcome back to a new episode of Kerbal Space Program JNSQ 2.6 times harder KSP stuck. Yay! Okay, that was no kind of weird introduction. Anyways, long story short, well, there's no long story, there's nothing short to say about this, except from the fact that we have left at the end of the last episode our two tourist Kerbals here in a low orbit around Kerbin. With that, they're actually like their contracts are completed. They just have to return back home, and this is like literally what we're just going to do right now here. Straight off the bat, we're gonna detach the engine stage and firing the parachute, and we're gonna fall back down. And with that being kind of now underway, time warping as well. Usually I would cut away, but there are a few things that I would actually like to talk about, and I think this is like the perfect opportunity. First of all, how was your day, my friends? My day was pretty darn good so far. I'm just a bit tired walking around the city today for pretty much 3 hours straight, just walking around, but kind of was fun. So, how was yours? Tell me down in the comments below. First of all, that's the first thing. Okay, now that was really off topic, I guess. But anyway, so the thing is, after we have now completed in the last episode, after having struggled with these two tourists, we've completed the rendezvous contract, which was one of those first milestone contracts, aka kind of more or less the main mission, I would say, like the primary route that we have to, or that we should follow more or less. And the follow-up contract, which I had a look at already, haven't accepted it yet, is going to the moon, rendezvous at the moon, returning from orbit of moon, and returning from moon flyby. So these are more or less the ideas the next few contracts are more or less the next mission set that they ask us to do. And here is the thing, we unlocked the miniature docking ports last episode thanks to our orbital mission with Valentina, which was definitely helpful for the docking maybe and transferring data and sending it further. So that's kind of the idea that I had. But on the other hand, I'm not quite sure whether we really want to go for the moon already. I mean, this is something where I'm personally a bit skeptical. So anyways, we're back at the KSC, that's what I meant here. Explore the moon, rendezvous vessels, orbit moon, return Kerbin orbit moon, and return from flyby moon. Well, we can definitely, without any issues, do these two, like orbit moon and return from orbit moon and return from flyby moon. But we're just gonna accept it. But on the other hand, these satellite contracts, polar satellites around Kerbin, also seem rather interesting in my personal opinion. They're not difficult, but they can still help us in kind of gain some reputation. So that's something where I'm a bit unsure what to do, or at least what to complete. I should rather say what to complete first, because I'm definitely not going to be able to do that in one launch, because, well, who would have thought we need 2 launches to get a rendezvous? Like, in theory, you could obviously do with one lander and Apollo style. Like, literally, Apollo style would more than complete that contract. But, yeah. So that's why my idea is actually to do a setup mission. First of all, a setup mission. On the one hand, on the other hand, the return mission as well. Well, the one of the two, whether, let's see, I'll have to decide during the mission, depends on how much fuel we'll have for the return missions. So I'm going to go this time again with the with a new build, with a new manual build during the recording time, because I do think building new vessels is rather interesting, or to watch me build new vessels, because I personally really enjoyed that usually. So idea is rendezvous and returning. So with our newly added part, I'm definitely going to get a Clampatron junior here. So that's one of the rather important things. The next thing is I'm going to smack on a battery and 4 solar panels this time around. 4 solar panels. And on top of that, we definitely need a I'm thinking about actually smacking 2 of these onto our vessel, because of the simple reason, the idea that I'm having is to like I said, a setup mission. Wait, can we already do fuel transfers? I think actually we should be able to do fuel transfers. So the idea is the following: that we're gonna put this small, well, not that one just yet. It's gonna get another. Wait a second, I just have a rather interesting idea. So the idea that I had was we're gonna set one small satellite relay and satellite into into moon orbit with as much spare fuel as we possibly can, or pretty much everything spare fuel. And we're going to send kind of the craft that carried this satellite / fuel storage there is going to return back. So that was more or less the idea. But right now I'm actually thinking about, because that's more or less the setup that was considering. Do we want to use rather bigger fuel tanks to have more fuel aboard of that thing? Because I think that will make it more useful, since you will always obviously need some fuel and Delta V to rendezvous, and if the fuel that you can gain is less than the one that you have to expend, it kind of defeats the entire purpose of that thing in the first place. So yes, why not? We're gonna go with this one with a larger fuel tank. That's what I was trying to say. Wow, really not thinking too much before talking. That's bad. Okay, so gonna put the fuel off here. Actually, give it an orange look to just know that this is a fuel depot. Then we're gonna go with another docking port. Why should I actually bother than using another docking port? We should be able to just use regular fuel tanks at top. I'm going to actually test this one out in just, well, not in just, but I'm going to test that one out in le futur. On the launch pad before launching it for real. So yeah, that's important to know. The question, we definitely need obviously another probe core. It's obvious. We're gonna use two solar panels only on that thing. With the question is, do we want to go with double? Yeah, why not? Let's give it 2 batteries, 2 solar panels. The smallest engine. The question is, do we want to go for an ant engine? I absolutely hate them. They're just so tiny. Oh no, let's go and take a good old spark engine. I absolutely love those engines. Okay, spark engine check. You have some fuel check. You have disable crossfeed check, even though that shouldn't work in the first place. Yeah, right. Now we need to make sure this is survivable. I would actually like love to put it on like this, but that would be just so hilarious. I'm sorry. No, we're gonna take a small. We have a small decoupler. No, that's a large decoupler. That's an even larger decoupler. There you go. Actually, there's a stack separated. There are no decouplers, small decouplers. As it seems, I'm going to use, sadly, a large heat shield. And a parachute. Brilliant. The parachute and the detachment of that thing have to be in the same stage. You're going to go down here. You will be port staging. There we go, and the last one is this one. Well, last one, as in, I'm actually not sure whether we're going to decouple that one in the first, well, at all. So this is more or less the idea that I have. Next up, I'm going to put on the science experiments onto the fuel tank here, or onto the lower stage generally speaking, because we can transfer the data into this capsule, and then we only have to move the capsule back, and this will save us, even though that will be like really neglectable amount of delta V carrying, especially the thermometer and the barometer. These two really make no difference bringing them along with us for the journey. However, the two goos might actually make a difference. Preferably I would love to bring a Science Junior with us, but that thing is just too big in my opinion for the time being. And like I already established and said last time, or at the very conclusion and end of the last episode, I'm really unsure of how much fuel we can honestly Speaking of fuel, why are we even bothering detaching that entire stage here? Let's just be like this. One is orange, aka the fuel depot stage, and one is going to be the space tech, I guess. I would love to bring the Terrier, and the difference in mass being 100 kilos, but we have better ISP for 100 kilos, whatever. 0.1 ton is not going to change the world, I guess. You're the first one, you guys do whatever you want. And I do want to have the vacuum readout 1500. I think this is enough to get us into a min encounter, because I was really surprised last time how little we needed, well, compared to how much more fuel we need to get into low Kerbin orbit, how little more we need to get from low Kerbin orbit to the Moon. That's what I mean. Speaking of that, how about we go and use for the very, very, very first time a larger set of diameter parts. So going to increase the diameter here. Luckily we have the VAB upgrade, though we don't have the these are, I think, even bigger, right? Yeah, these guys are even bigger. Okay, so going to go with that one here. This is our core stage. Let's give it one more fuel tank. No, that seems to be too big actually. Or let's say the other way around. I would love to just be this one Terrier engine here would be so underpowered, but I would really love to do a 3-staged mission, kind of like this is the 3rd stage. That's the idea, or to really hope. But what's your thrust to weight ratio? 1 on Kerbin in vacuum. You have a thrust to weight ratio of 1 point something. 0.8, that sounds more reasonable as in, how should I say that? 1 is super good, but we do need more fuel, but I do think this is now a bit overkill. Let's do it like that. Okay, yes, we're using more parts than necessary, but whatever. We have upgraded the VAB, so there's no point in holding back with that, I think. A small inline reaction wheel. I kind of want to have one, but I kind of don't want to put even more things on top of that thing here. But whatever, whatever, I can't be bothered. Let's smack one on there. And now let's have a look. Do we have some nice new engines? No, we don't. We have the Torch. That's a smaller version, the Valiant. Wait, what's the difference between the Torch and the Valiant? When your booster is small and needs a real kick, high temperature gases. Wait, you have ridiculous thrust or what? I guess this is good for building electron mock-ups, probably. Yeah, probably. I have absolutely still no clue what engines are good and what engines are absolutely garbage. this definitely seems like a solid idea, right? Before we do that, let's scroll up here. Where is the decoupler? Yes, you are here. You're the second stage. You are stage 1, you are stage 1 as well. So let's have a look. How much thrust? Sea level 2. No, not quite 2, but okay, interesting. How much? 2000 meters per second. Interesting as well. I'm actually going to... I'm not the biggest fan of inlining things and clipping things, but I do think this is fair enough, I guess. Especially if I'm going to drop that one and make it a Reliant. There you go. That should make it lighter. Yes, Reliant is lighter and more powerful. A good lifter stage. And these guys have gimbal, so that should definitely not be a problem whatsoever. However, well, we're definitely going to go with boosters on the side. The question is, do we go with SRBs for raw power, or do we want to go for... No, we are going to shoot for the moon. So that means we can... I do like these new tanks, these new nose cone type of tanks that are really useful. You can get even... You even have aerodynamic nose cones with small tanks that have fuel. That's really good, that's really cool. Not only adapters, but small tanks as well. Like regular nose cones. Okay, with that we can drop this one. We have additional fuel. This seems solid. Do you have power? No, you don't. Do you want to go with an asparagus staging? Yay, let's go with an asparagus staging. Yay, I like asparagus staging. 2 times please. Once and twice. So you, my friends, you're gonna feed this one. Yeah, and you are already feeding in there, so you're gonna stay there. You are going to be dropped first. Brilliant. That seems solid. Speaking of solid, I'm gonna offset both of them by a bit, and I'm going to give both of them a solid rocket motor. Though I'm only gonna give the flea. How long will you burn? You burn for 50 seconds, according to this one. How long does a bloody flea burn? Flea, how long do you burn, my fellow friend? 52 seconds. You burn for 9. You burn for 18. 19. Well, you do provide a reasonable amount of thrust, though. What if we go and upgrade you to a hammer? A hammer at 50% well, 48% thrust burns for 49 seconds. That's in my opinion close enough. And I'm gonna put you on the... This looks ridiculously ugly. I don't like ugly things. I'm just gonna go with... Let's go with just that setup here at 40%-ish. 40%. Well, you need actually to burn out high. That makes no difference. So both of them approximately at 40%. I'm going to fire them in stages as well. You will be fired here. You will be fired down here. This should give us enough thrust to get off the launch pad. Brilliant. That was in vacuum. So not even is this rocket in terms of the idea having, well, actually it has no idea, similar to the Saturn V, because I wanted to say it has similar idea as the Saturn V, but it doesn't. Because, well, the thrust to weight ratio is approximately the same. Thrust to weight ratio of 1.16. Yes. Anything else I want to add or remove? We have relay antenna. You don't have any communications antenna whatsoever, but I think that should be all right to the man. I think. I really think. Let's give you one just as a back. Well, in emergency, maybe it could be useful to have a additional antenna here. It's going to be a inline one. That's fine by me. Brilliant. What do you mean with 88 seconds? Probably until the SRBs burn out. That's what they tell me to do. Anyways, long story short, I like cookies. You too. Luna too. Gonna go with launch clamps. 4 of them. Bring you down. Save launchpad. Okay, so with that we actually had a rather interesting, ridiculously long time building this rocket. Wow. Wait, why are we still so high? Did I not move it down? Was I so stupid to not move it down? Anyways, welcome to the launch pad. Why are we so laggy? I'm not rendering the video in the background, right? No, I'm not. It just decided to be laggy. Probably because, well, the par count starts to be more than 5 parts. 70, that's not really a lot. Anyhow, we are launching the first attempt at a at a return mission from the moon. So, my fellow friends, I think it's time to cross your fingers, press the Z key, and enter. Spacebar. Whoops. So much so for a climatic liftoff. Yay, I guess. What I do want to have, though, is the fuel readouts of you, and the fuel readout of you. This tells me when to asparagus stage. Obviously, we could follow the delta V meters of what's the thing called? Staging, there we go. Staging delta V meters. Usually this is a very good idea, honestly speaking. But because we have the SRBs in there, I think we're going to pass on that one. So let's make here a nice screenshot. Maybe this will be a thumbnail. I have absolutely no idea. What I do know, however, is that we're going to ditch our first set of SRBs. Well, asparagus fuel tanks. Even though usually we're building asparagus stagings in 6 pair, like in 2 pairs of 3 pairs of 2. Boy oh boy, I really can't count, like 6 tanks, 3 pairs of 2. But anyhow, so the SRBs really propel us nice, will accelerate us nice to a 200 meters per second threshold now. The other thing, I'm just realizing we don't have any fins, so I'm a bit afraid of tilting over, because our nose cone is like this contraption here is nowhere, auto strap please, thank you, nowhere near aerodynamically sound. Oh, and by the way, you can see the man over there. Wow, the man is really tiny. JNSQ. Oh, brilliant. Oh, and these are already empty. I hope that was not for too long, because I was really not paying attention. But anyways, we're going to now do the turning over towards the right hand side, aka 90 degrees. Well, 90 degrees. What is it? I have absolutely no idea. Heading 90 degrees. There you go. Not pitch angle, because our pitch angle is still a 70, 60. I'm so terrible at this. I really was not paying attention whatsoever. So this is pretty much the worst ascent I had in a couple of episodes now. But the one positive thing about it is, I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. There's nothing positive about that. Anyhow, we are going into a very high, well, suborbital trajectory, which is absolutely nuts, I guess, in terms of going up and back down, or at least that's what the thing would love to do right now. So we're going to point it towards the horizon and press the Z key again. Luckily we do have still some solid amount of fuel in our core stage, which is also pretty much the plan, though we're definitely not going to get into orbit with the core stage, though that was also the plan. The other stage, I'm really afraid, I wouldn't say afraid. There we go, off goes that stage. We only have 230 meters per second though, right now. That shouldn't be an issue to get us into orbit. That's not really my concern. It's rather the concern of not being able to reach the mun. I'm 100% sure we'll not reach the mun with the orange fuel tank having all of its fuel. Let's already set the mun as a target. Still 100 kilometers up, so there's no point in doing anything else in terms of angle. Yes, the angle is not ideal, but we're still converting a bit of the vertical velocity, or reducing the vertical velocity a tiny bit, which is also solid, I think. Now I do want to point up just to bring the periapsis out of the atmosphere. And then the question is, do we want to ditch the state? No, we don't, because we do have some additional fuel and still locked in place though. There we go. Question is it worth to burn already if we want to go to the mun? I think this will be enough. Oh, it isn't enough. Okay, so we can get quite close to the mun. Let's do something like this. Let's plan something like this, I guess. Is the better word. We can still burn, which is good, but we don't have enough fuel in this stage only. I'm aware of that. Thank you very much. We're going to unlock these two, and we still don't have enough fuel. Okay, interesting. Okay, well, that's now kind of bad in terms of. Okay, so wait. In that case, I'm not going to do the maneuver. I'm going to wait one orbit and planet. No, I don't want to have the navigation to the KSE. Thank you very much. I want to have the new maneuver node, and not an escape maneuver node. Thank you. Just okay. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter where we go. We need still more or less more fuel than we have. Yeah. This one seems like literally the cheapest one we can get in 48 minutes. So I guess the mission is the mission. It's not a complete failure, since we still have all of our things working and everything, but we're definitely not going to be able to do it as planned. But the continuation of this mission is going to happen next week in the next episode of JNSQ-KSP, and I'm going to think how to actually solve this one and make the probe still useful. So anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Wow, it's a long episode. It's a 28-minute episode in one go. Boy oh boy, I hope you're still watching it. Enjoy the rest of your day, my friends.